Hello, dear friends, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of October the 19th through the 25th. Before we get started, let me remind you that we still have Mercury and Mars both retrograde. Actually, we are almost in the beginning of Mercury's retrograde phase, and we are kind of in the middle of Mars retrograde phase, which is something we need to be cautious about. When two of the personal planets, like Mercury and Mars, are both retrograde, things may really slow down. And I'm not telling you to put everything on hold or to stop living your life, because first of all, that's not necessary. Second of all, very often it's not possible. But if you have some really important projects, maybe this would be the time to reassess something, maybe to fix some mistakes, maybe to change your perspective. And if you have something really important as a project you want to begin with, or anything else that includes information, document, communication, and also business related things, probably it would be better for you to wait a little bit. But when we have both Mercury and Mars retrograde, like we are about to have in the next couple of weeks, it's time for retrospection. It's time to go a little bit more internal and to focus more on the things that we can fix, the things that we can restart, things that we can rebuild in our lives. So that's something that would apply to the whole week, both Mercury and Mars retrograde. On Monday, we are also starting with two major aspects that actually include the retrograde planets. Mars is having a square with Jupiter, which frankly is not a really challenging aspect because Jupiter is not a malefic planet. Yes, there could be some issues. For example, we may feel like we are not receiving the results that we were planning, or we might feel a little unappreciated for the work that we are doing. We might want to compete with others or to feel like we are falling behind a little bit on our goals. Overall, such an aspect can bring frustration. Frustration with our goals, with our actions, and what do we get there? But this can always serve us in a very constructive way, because frustration is what can motivate us to change something and evolve and grow and become better at what we do. So on Monday, I highly recommend you to reconsider your plans, your goals, especially those that you have created long time ago. The retrograde motion of Mars, of course, brings the focus more to the past and to things that we have already started. Overall, this aspect can bring potential challenges in business, in communication with authority figures, within big organizations. There could be some kind of struggles as well. Mercury, the other retrograde planet, which is currently in Scorpio, is also having an opposition with Uranus, which is in Taurus. And this aspect may bring tension, first of all, in our communication. Negotiations can be quite challenging. There could be unpredictable reactions. There could be technological problems. Internet, nowadays, we depend so much on the modern era of technology, and it's possible that on Monday things may not work properly. So be careful with cars, with computers, with all kinds of gadgets. And overall, if you communicate with other people, make sure to be very clear about what you want to say, because sometimes people may misinterpret. And basically, that's one of Mercury retrograde favorite parts. So more attention in communication with contracts, traveling, negotiations, and specifically with financial projects. Mercury in Scorpio and Uranus in Taurus are triggering the two signs which are related to our resources and specifically money, investments, and so on. In this area, we need to be especially careful because there could be unpredictable results or some other stressful situations. On the other side, Venus is also playing a major role on Monday because we have one of the greatest aspects, Venus trining Jupiter, the two benefactors in astrology connected with a positive aspect trine. Truth must be told that none of those planets is essentially strong in the sign position. So Venus in Virgo is weak and Jupiter in Capricorn is weak, but they are still Venus and Jupiter. So we can still expect some kind of positive changes, some kind of opportunities, especially related to practical and material things. Those could be some kind of benefits we can receive, some kind of support, or maybe some kind of emotional fulfillment of what we can achieve. So Monday is really mixed because of this. We have the challenges that Mars and Mercury are bringing, but we also have the positive aspects of Venus. Venus is also having a quincunx with Mars, which is a mixed aspect. At first, it may feel challenging. Later on, there could be some benefits. Overall, it increases our passion, our desire to achieve things, but there could be some things we need to change or something we need to work for, or some kind of frustration related to our desires and also possibly related to love and relationships. But if we are open to take action, we can achieve positive results because of this aspect. Moon in Sagittarius actually brings certain level of lightness to this overall complicated situation we have on Monday. It can bring a little bit more positive attitude, more optimistic perspective, and some kind of wisdom, maybe to look at the challenges from a different perspective or to realize that they will pass just like any other time. So mixed combinations on Monday with some possible opportunities, but also challenges. On Tuesday, again, we have Venus having challenging aspects with the nodes. This aspect is not really problematic, but it requires more attention. We need to reconsider our desires when it comes to our future perspectives, our future plans, maybe also to reconsider the past in a way, because Venus is triggering the axis of the nodes, the south and the north, the past and the future. So it's time to reassess some of our desires. There could be some challenges or changes in our relationships, in our personal connections with people. But overall, this is not an aspect which can bring confrontations or some serious struggles. It's more about reevaluation and desire to make some kind of changes. The day is mostly neutral for business, kind of unfavorable for finance and relationships, but again, nothing really dramatic. Communication and the other areas are also mostly neutral, but the moon in Sagittarius again can bring some kind of uplifting energy, more wisdom, more positivity, and overall can help us in this situation. Then on Wednesday, again, Venus. So look how active is Venus this week. So far, for the first 3 days, each day we have a Venus aspect. So on Wednesday, we have a trine with Pluto. Again, two earth signs are triggered, Virgo and Capricorn. This overall supports achieving practical results, focusing on concrete tasks. And this could be also positive for career, for business goals. This combination of Venus and Pluto is also very passionate. And it can increase, it can deepen our desires to succeed in something, to get some tangible results, and also to be emotionally involved in our projects and our tasks. So overall, empowering positive combination. and also a great one for business and for financial decisions. I'm reminding you again, Mercury is still in Scorpio and it's retrograde. So finances are a complicated area, but sometimes we just have to make steps. And this aspect that Venus is having with Pluto on Wednesday is actually quite positive for investment and for financial decisions. Mercury, on the other side, has a minor challenging aspect with Venus, which can bring some potential issues in our communication with people, with partners, and we need to be more careful because people may take everything too personally. And there is some kind of mixture between our mind and our heart's desires, or more like a confrontation there. So our mind may tell us one thing and our heart may want something else. So we are in the middle. We have to find the balance. We have to decide what would be more relevant for us. But such an aspect really requires paying attention to the two sides. So the mind and the heart, and just to be more in touch with our own desires. Mercury is having another aspect on Wednesday, which is a positive one with Jupiter. Great aspect to reconsider some of our plans, our decisions, our goals, and also to have a deeper understanding, a little bit more philosophical perspective for learning, for exploring new things, for literally some kind of studies. This aspect is very, very supportive. And the moon is in Capricorn on Wednesday, which can make us more serious, more practical. It's not like a very fun combination, but it can be very pragmatic and bringing us tangible results. So Wednesday, the focus is more on work, career, and business. On Thursday, we have one of the biggest changes during this week, the ingression of the sun in Scorpio. And overall, it changes the energy for the following 1 month. The sun in Scorpio can allow us to be more serious, also more emotional, more attached to things. Scorpio is a water fixed sign, so we can be more possessive, more, as I said, attached to ideas, people, goals, whatever. But on the other side, such a combination, such position can be very supportive to feel more empowered, to feel more passionate about ideas, about our project. Very, very positive time to think about healing, to think about our emotional and psychological well-being. Some crisis might get accentuated, or we can experience more tension, but this is only an opportunity for us to pay attention to those parts that needs to be healed or changed in some way. On Thursday, also Mars is having a positive aspect with Neptune, which is a great combination for healing, for some kind of physical therapy, for some kind of meditation, and also for creative activities. Great time for art projects, for anything that has to do with beauty, with art, with design. We can feel more inspired, we can be more intuitive, and also we can be more compassionate and willing to help other people. Venus in Virgo, on the other side, is having a minor challenging aspect with Uranus. This aspect can bring some kind of frustration in the area of relationships, some kind of surprises or unpredictable reactions, more desire for freedom, but also more variety and some excitement and interesting experiences. This aspect, however, is unfavorable for financial projects and also for relationships. It can bring possible stress. The moon is still in Capricorn, so we are still concentrated and focused and very practical, a little bit closed, a little bit more reserved. So we are not that open, especially with such a combination. The sun in Scorpio and the moon in Capricorn Those are probably the two most serious signs. Okay, sorry. Something happened with my presentation. Mercury is retrograde after all, so all right, we are back. Just when I was explaining how serious are things with the sun in Scorpio and the moon in Capricorn, really probably the most serious signs, which can make us also a little bit more closed, a little bit more cautious in communication, but also more passionate and more devoted to our projects and things we want to achieve. Next, we are moving on to Friday. On Friday, the moon is already in Aquarius, which from one side can bring lightness, changes the focus on more variety, more excitement, some kind of group projects, community projects that we can focus on. But the moon is also joining Saturn there. And this can make us more serious, more concentrated, but also more reserved and more cautious. Overall, such a combination is beneficial for business because we can organize things properly, we can prioritize them, and we may follow through. And for business and hard work, this is actually a nice position. At the same time, the sign of Aquarius can bring a little bit more different approach, more original perspective, and overall can support some kind of group community project. The moon is also squaring the sun and Mercury in Scorpio, which may require some kind of reassessment of our personal goals, maybe some potential challenges in communication or misunderstandings. We need to be especially careful with communication and technology on Friday. The day is mostly beneficial for business, hard work, some serious planning and effort, kind of unfavorable for communication, and the other areas are mostly neutral. Then we get to the weekend and Saturday, which actually is a great day. One of the best days actually during the week, if not actually the absolute best. Venus trining Saturn, but no other challenging aspects. The moon in Aquarius. Great time for practical results, for doing the things that we love, for also being very responsible, very concentrated, emotionally engaged. Very positive for business projects, career tasks, financial decisions, for communication, negotiations. Even in relationships, such an aspect may bring serious commitment. It won't bring you incredible passion or emotionality or, those are not Saturn's thing. But it's a great time to focus more on our commitment, on our promises, and this may bring certain level of stability in our relationships and overall on our emotional state. The moon in Aquarius brings lightness, brings more excitement, more variety. So overall, Saturday looks like a very beneficial area for almost every activity. And finally, on Sunday, again, Mercury, but this time it's joining the sun. So we have an exact conjunction between Sun and Mercury retro in Scorpio. Great time for reevaluation of our own ideas, our own plans, our own desires. The challenge is that sometimes such a combination can make us too subjective, and we are unwilling or incapable of looking at things from a more objective perspective. We also have the sign of Scorpio triggered, which is a water sign, and water signs are also not really objective. So we can interpret things in our own way. Sometimes we might see mistakes or secrets or literally misinterpret things in a more negative way, because Scorpio is very cautious. Scorpio is very suspicious of people. And we may also get a more negative perspective or be a little bit more reserved in our communication. But for studies, for learning, for exploration, diving deep into something, the aspect is actually extremely beneficial. And Mercury is also having a minor challenging aspect with Neptune. This aspect can make us even more subjective, even more misinterpreting the information. So we can literally make some kind of mistake. We can forget about something, or we may just see things in a very distorted way. So I would like to invite you to give yourself more time before you take decisions, before you say something difficult to another person, because sometimes, you know, we can be over emotional, take things too personally, and then unintentionally hurt other people. So be more cautious in communication and in your verbal self-expression. And what would be positive actually is to focus on some kind of creative project, on some kind of spiritual practice, meditation, energy healing, whatever you like. This can be very helpful, and actually this aspect can support you in such activities. The moon is in Aquarius, which also brings the lightness, brings, well, the desire to do something different, to be more original in our approaches, and overall for some kind of community. Okay, so this was the second interruption. Mercury retrograde is working at its full potential, obviously, but this was really the last part of our forecast for the following week. As you can see, we have some interesting shifts happening. Sun moving to Scorpio, Venus very active, Mercury retrograde also very active during the week. And this is also a great opportunity for us to reconsider, to fix something, to change something, and overall to take better care of ourselves. So that's the weekly forecast. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, where you will find the daily horoscopes in stories and so much more information. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week.